Right, so I'm going to tie a Templedog now. This one is a Jorra or Jorra Gold. So what I have here is a bit of clear 3.2mm outer, and I've flared a piece of black inner and pulled it through it. So I'm going to use black thread here, put a little bit of glue on it, and I run my thread in between the two types of tubing, and then I'm going to take them back to where I want my butt to be. Now I'm going to do butt and rib here. I'm going to use a copper braid. So I'm going to put on a couple of turns of that. And then tie it off. I'm going to take it forward to the point where my dubbin is going to be, the dubbin portion of the body, because then when I return that, the lump that it creates won't be shown, whereas if you had it under a tinsel portion when you did that, it might show a lump or a bump. So, tail on here, you want some sort of like a yellowish fibre, so I'm going to use an anther here. I'm going to tie it in at the bend because it's on a card, and take that back to the butt. Now if I go underneath it, and if it's splayed out here and I cut at an angle, I should end up with some sort of a taper to the tail. Okay. Now, the body on this one, I want to use an unusual sort of material, which is a yellow pearl mylar. Which seems to be extremely difficult to find. So, if I tie that in and put on a few tight pulls of that to create maybe half or so of the body. Now, stop that pulling out because it's quite a big material. I'm just going to take my dubbing needle and add a little bit of glue. So, next portion of the body is some sort of a goldish dubbing. So I'm going to use a light bright. I'm just going to pull it through itself. You could also use something like glister, maybe tan glister for this. Once you get a couple of fibres caught, you can now start to spin it and it'll create a tighter dubbing rope for you. And create sort of a dubbing ball at the front there. Okay. Now, the body hackle on this is a badger hackle, and it is dyed in an Aztec gold colour, which is like a ginger, I suppose. I'm going to tie that in by its base. And then I'm going to wrap that backwards. Now, some people what they do is they'd only wrap the hackle on the dubbing portion, so stopping there. and others go right to the tail. So I'm going to take that back to the tail. I'm going to take my braid, I'm going to pull it quite tight and twist it to try and keep it tight as I go, because I want it more as a rib rather than splaying itself out. And you have to sort of wiggle it to get it through the fibres without binding stuff down. Now, just going to press the hackles down to keep them back and out of the way, and then take a little bit of glue, put it on maybe a couple of centimetres of my tying thread, and bind that rib down with that. Now, for the wing, this is American opossum, and again I've dyed it in that Aztec gold colour. I'll take out a little portion of that and use that as my underwing. Now it's a kind of stiffish material, it reminds me a little bit of polar bear, and hopefully it should just support our main wing. So this time I'm not going to cut this square. What I'm actually going to do is offset the cut end. I'm going to put a couple of wraps across that. Now this UTC thread tends to like display itself out, but in this situation I don't want that, so I'm just twisting it on itself to tighten itself up. I have a couple of wraps on there, and I'm just going to put on a little bit of glue just to fold that back and pull it real tight back on itself. And then I want a little bit of super glue right in at the base of that. I don't want to create a lot of bulk here, but I don't want my wing pulling out either. So, next portion on this wing, we're going to use this, which is a bit of fox, and again it's dyed in, I'm going to call this sunburst ginger. So, it's just as I was going along adding different bits and pieces to the dye bath until I've got a real bright ginger. So I'm going to start in ginger, Aztec gold. There may even be a bit of fluorescent yellow in this just to bling it up a bit. So I'll take a portion of that out. I'm going to measure that up for length. Each portion of my wing is going to get progressively longer. So in this case I've measured it up, I've trimmed it off for length there. I just have a little streak of glue just into the very tips of that. I'll put on a wrap over it. Going to take a mascara brush here and brush that into it. Okay. And I'm just adding a little dab of glue to that to make it more secure. So, take now a few fibres of our light braid, same one as we used for the body, or you can use a holographic gold or whatever you want. Sci-Bi also produce a nice version of this. Put on just a few fibres, and they're going to sit within the fox portion of that wing. So, I'm now going to add another hackle to this fly. So, same sort of cape, same colour, but larger hackle. Just going to take some wax and wax my tying thread there. And that should allow me to wrap on a few turns of this hackle. A little bit of glue onto my tying thread. And just wrap that on to secure it in place. So, now I want to take a fiery brown fox. Take out a small bunch of that. That. I'll tie this in reverse. I'm just tying over the base of that. Turn it over. And now I'm just using my nail to sort of widen and flatten out the tie-in point of that. And again, a little bit of glue just onto my tying thread and wrap over that to keep it in place. Now, a lot of people don't do that and they might think that's excessive, but essentially you're tying on 1.8mm here of flexible plastic, so the bending that goes on with the normal casting, I'm just trying to prevent the fly from falling apart. So, next up I'm going to put in 2 strands of a Mirage orange here. So, tie one in and fold it back on itself. And we'll trim those off around the length of our current wing. So now I'm going to add peacock herl into the wing. So I've taken a couple of strands from each side and measure them up for length. And just put a little bit with my nail, put a little bit of curl into those. Now I twist them slightly towards myself because they have a flatness to them, and then as I wrap onto them, that will twist them over and onto the top of the wing. couple of turns just okay with glue on the thread just to keep that in place. And that's the top portion of this. I'm going to use this, which is a fiery brown, a darker fiery brown. This is Templedog. And that's not going to be as long as the rest of the wing. What I'm going to do here is nip that off square, tie it in reverse. Wraps of glued thread. I'm going to trim off those ends. So I'm going to add some jumbo cock. So I take one off, put it on my side. Take one off to match for the other side. Match them up for length. Again, a little run of glue onto the thread there. Now, one last time, another hackle. Now, I'm going to use the same as what we had used, but what you could do is maybe use a soft hackle at this point. So I've doubled the hackle, tie it in by its tip. Forward as far as my wing, then pull that back. I'll take a turn underneath and tie it off just as it comes on the up again. I'm going to fold that back and put on a couple of half hitches. Finish that. I'm going to nick off my hackle in nice and tight, my thread underneath. Now I take back to my mascara brush, I'm just going to brush that to join all those wings together. Now the reason I tied the fillet this way is because I'm putting on a very flat disc. I suppose you'd call it like a hybrid cone. So I'm just going to set that up in there. to get some super glue onto my dubbing needle. Put a blob of glue the whole way around the head there. And then I pull all down and take my disc and push it tight up into it. Really force it in. And that is the fly tight, so I now take it off, trim off my inner tube and flame that. There, onto it. There we have a Jorra gold tube.